So the next thing we need to ask ourselves really is, how do we know what's true? What sort of things come out as true? Now, we have some obvious ones like true, like the word true is a JavaScript Boolean value, right? That is true. So true is true. But what else is true? So knowing what's true, a lot of times we are using comparison operators to say, is this true or is it not? So let's look. So we have A equals B. If A is 5 and B is 5, then then they're equal and they're true. When we see two equal signs, we're saying, is A equal to B? Now, if we have one equal sign, we all know that that's an assignment operator, and we're saying A is equal to B. But when we have two, we're saying, is A equal to B? If we have three equal signs, then it's sort of like asking, is A equal to B? But in this case, we're saying, is A identical to B? And so an example of the difference between these two is if A is the string containing the digit 5 and B is an integer equal to 5, then A equal to B is true. However, A identical to B is false. So that's sort of the difference between the two. If something can be changed, like the data type or the form of something, so that they are equal, then it passes the equality test. If they are not identical, meaning same data type, same exact thing, then they fail the identical test. So those are two comparison operators. Another comparison operator that we need to be aware of that we can be used is, this is saying, is A not equal to B? So it's the opposite of is A equal to B. It's a exclamation point and an equal sign. We also have the identical equivalent. So we're saying, is A not identical to B? Okay, we also have things like greater than. So is A greater than B? Is A less than B? And we also have, is A greater than or equal to B? And is A less than or equal to B? Those are all things that you can sort of look at in a fairly simple way, and you can say, yes, that's true, or not, that's not true, or no, that's not true. But things get a little bit more complicated if we introduce and or not, the Boolean operators that we talked about in a previous unit, to make complex expressions. But we also have other values that could appear there. Let's say these are true things, okay? So the number 1 is true. The number -1 is true. In fact, any number that is greater or less than 0 is true, even negatives. The string hello is true. Any string is true, with a single exception. The word true is, of course, true. And the result of 5 plus 4 is also true, because that evaluates to 9, which means it's a value that is not equal to 0. Now, these things are false. Here are some things that are false. The number 0 is false, okay? 0 is always false. So is the word null. Null is a special value that says this is empty. So if we assign null to a variable and then we test to see whether that variable evaluates to true or false, then it will evaluate to false. An empty string is false. The word false is false because that's the Boolean value that literally means false. And of course, if we have an expression like 5 minus 5 that evaluates to 0, that would also equal false. So those are some things to be aware of in terms of true and false.